Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rayge, and we are back today to talk about the huge, significant Apocalypse update here for the Sagas, which is going to make it a lot more meaningful as well valuable for those in the mid-game, transitioning to end-game, and obviously unlocking one of the best characters still hands down in the game in Big Boy Apocalypse. The update you may have saw is that the Apocalypse Saga now has been fully reworked, where essentially now more characters are able to be utilized, and it just makes it easier for those of you that are trying to save materials, those of you that are trying to be smart and build value for the long haul, especially focusing on characters and tunes that are actually in the meta right now, as opposed to building up teams that you don't need or are no longer relevant. With each respective with each respective Apocalypse Saga here relating to pestilence, famine, war, and death, they have been reworked now. The gear tier requirement has not changed, but more so the characters that you can use to enter in these respective modes have been updated so that it just opens more doors. The barrier to entry is lower. For example, if we take a look at Pestilence here featuring Morgan Le Fay, previously it was Morgan Le Fay and Darkhold at gear tier 17 required to enter the Apocalyptic stage here, and now you can see you only need Morgan Le Fay at gear tier 17 on top of the remaining Mystic characters. So if you hit go here, it does see the revision right there, right? Morgan Le Fay and Mystic characters. Now, I do want to point out, guys, that you still need the rest of the team to be at gear tier 17. So, for example, if I try to enter this right now, you'll see there's only so many characters in my roster that's Mystic and at gear tier 17. So, that still remains to be something that you need to invest in going forward. But the nice option for folks now is the fact that you don't actually have to invest in Darkhold at gear tier 17 or Gamma at gear tier 17. Now you can bring in a slew of different characters and traits, and there are going to be some better teams that I want to talk to you about because obviously with many of them being in the meta, that's how the focus should be, right? That way you are going to take advantage of the value and the investment of your gold and training resources. So anyways, Morgan Le Fay for Pestilence now has been updated to Mystic. Rogue with Famine has been updated to be utilizing now mutant characters on top of her. We have bio characters being used for Red Hulk, and what I do like about Archangel is that he's also going to be double dipping. You can use mutant characters for him as well. So both Archangel and Rogue can actually be coherently used together. So it actually reduces the number of characters you would need then into these modes because of the fact that they're both mutant characters. It makes it a lot much easier. And again, guys, as opposed to building 20 characters that are no longer relevant, now we're just taking advantage of some of the value, some of the raid teams that we already have that you'd still need to be utilizing in Incursion and Spotlight raids. Well, there's a lot more kind of value now given back to the player community, and at the same time, investments that are made are still going to be relevant going forward. And especially some of these raid teams staying, they have some good staying power for the foreseeable future right now, and that's really where the focus of the conversation is going to be. I want to go through now, guys, real quickly here, my personal recommendations now that you have access to the revised Apocalypse Saga. You know, which Mystic, Mutant, Bio characters would I personally recommend, and why I would recommend them. So as you can see, this has already been pre-filtered, but there's a couple of notable additions here, right? The Mystic roster has some of the strongest and most powerful characters in the game, but be very, very mindful of the meta. Without a doubt, Robbie's one of the best characters in the game. Definitely bring him in if you can, because you're going to be getting value in Arena. You're going to get value in Dark Dimension. He's part of Secret Defenders, still hands down one of the best all-rounder teams in the game. Val is really nice because Val is also one of the original MSF characters. There's going to always be value in the future. You need her anyways for the Bifrost team going forward right now in Incursion, and she's a strong Dark Dimension. So right off the bat, Robbie and Val, if you can get your hands on bringing these characters up, you're going to be needing them in the foreseeable future anyway, so it makes sense really to double dip there. Same with Spider Weaver. Spider Weaver has that same value to Val. It can be a very strong Dark Dimension character, but I love her synergy with Tangle Web, and the fact that even Spider-Man Noir getting reworked to be part of that Spire Society team, there's a lot of value here. So you're going to also need the 3 of the 4 original characters anyways for the Apocalypse Saga. So regardless, building up some of these characters that you know are locks are definitely easy to determine. And obviously Morgan Le Fay, you're going to need her up as she's going to be one of those minimum gear tier 17 characters. And then at that point, it's kind of a free-for-all. You know, you have characters like Deathpool being part of Merch for Money. So again, one of the MSF originals, so you're going to be getting value there. And what's cool is like almost all the MSF originals are actually part of this Mystic trait. So just something to be had there if you guys are looking forward to it. Ares is going to be big once his unlock actually comes into the game. I personally would recommend characters like Spider-Man Noir as well. As you can see, I'm already planning to bring him into Dark Dimension City section just because he's cheap. The fact that he's Mystic, and as well, again, being part of that Spire Society raid meta. Strong notable additions too that we can include is Cersei and Icarus as part of Eternals, but to be honest, they have fallen off quite a bit. Statistically, they could use their rework, but if you guys have them built up, you're going to get value in all game modes, or if you're planning to bring them into Dark Dimension as well. Next up, I want to talk about Bio real quick here, and then we'll jump into Mutant because that's going to be the biggest bucket. Bio characters, the obvious one here is going to be some of the raid characters that we see, right? We have some members of both Spire Society, especially characters like Ghost Spider, and as well as the Hive Mind team. The Hive Mind team is a very strong notable addition because especially since we know with how the turnover of raids happen, first it's going to be Mystic and then it's going to be Tech getting replaced. So as far as we know right now, the Bio team still has a lot of value going forward here, at least until next year in my honest opinion. So characters like Void Knight, you have Red Goblin, Gwenem, Carnage, all of them are very, very strong additions. And once again, Peter B. Parker, he's actually going to be a character I'm bringing into Dark Dimension, so I already upgraded and ready to go here with him and respectively the Spider-Man Noir just having value and the Spire Society team. So there's just so much value in the bio that we can take advantage of. And obviously you're going to be needing Red Hulk anyways for the War Saga. So just something to be mindful of there. He's going to be a strong, notable character. His team is probably going to be one of the most relevant ones just because they have staying power in War. I also want to bring up Lizard because he's a very, very effective character to be utilized in the Superior Sinister Six. They're still one of the best teams in the game as well. So if you want to build up a strong, notable addition to this, Lizard's a great option. And then if you do have strong out of time members, Captain America and Captain Carter could be options, but to be honest, I would choose these characters above just because of the fact that they have raid value and we're going to be needing that in the future. So Bio is a lock. There's plenty of options there, so you guys can't go wrong. And then lastly, last but not least, the Mutant section is the most versatile, but I do want to point out some potential ways to save here. So obviously it goes without saying, Extreme X-Men is the go-to, guys. Make sure you have Extreme X-Men or some aspects of them, but remember, as I pointed out earlier, Rogue and as well as Archangel, both characters that you're going to be needing at Gear Tier 17 anyways, so it makes sense to build at least both of them up already because that takes 2 out of the 5 characters that you'll be needing to enter into the sagas. Now, even better, if you've already unlocked Baby Apocalypse, well, guess what? You can double dip. Bring them into this, and those are 3 characters out of the 5, and really you just got to surround them with some notable meta raid characters like Nightcrawler, Gambit, both being the strong, quarterbacks of the Extreme X-Men team. We got Old Man Logan, an absolute monster, one of the best characters hands down right now in the game, even at lower star levels. So there's your mutant characters right there. I mean, the list goes on and on. There's just a lot of great additions. Fourth can provide some support for your Extreme to synergize as well. We got Sunspot, we got Cyclops, and then after that, guys, there's so many options, but I wouldn't recommend them after the top 5 to 10 that we see here on screen just because of their value. I like personally Miss Marvel Highlight because I still see some value with her in Arena depending on where you're ranked up right now. Going forward, even with her still being that soft counter against Apocalypse taking that punch, she's always going to have some value there. And then finally, I've always liked him, Omega Red. I brought him into Dark Dimension 6. I might be bringing him into Dark Dimension 7, who knows, but he's got great staying power in War anyway, so there's just some really, really strong mutant characters that you can take advantage of. But yeah, there you guys have it. In my honest opinion, of the best Mystic, Bio, and as well as mutant characters that you can take advantage of. And the best part is that investing in these characters for something as deep as the Apocalypse Saga, you're not going to be losing out on anything because you'll be using these characters in some way, shape, or form in some other game mode anyways. So hopefully this helps you guys out. Let me know what you think in comments below if I missed anything. As per usual, love hearing back from y'all. Thank you for your time as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.